I am not a heterosexual.
I go both ways.
This irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead.
Hi, my name is Sky, yes, double Y, and welcome to my channel, Skyy Explains It All, or if you've already been here before, welcome back. So today's video, you guys, I'm basically just going to be telling you guys how I realized that I am not a heterosexual.
I'm a homosexual. I'm a homosexual. I'm a homosexual.
It was like when I was about 27 years old and the paella had happened, and I was really just sitting deep in my thoughts because I had nothing else to do. And I was deciphering like how I viewed women and all of that, because growing up, I never like sexualized women, and even now realizing that I'm bi, I still don't. But I know a lot of people who are like lesbians or bi now, they always say like, oh, growing up they had like a crush on maybe like a friend or a teacher or something like that, an adult figure or something in their life, or they had a crush on. That never happened for me in real life. I never had any crushes on of my friends, never had any crushes on any of my teachers. So when I would see a pretty woman, I would just think that I just thought women were pretty. Like I said, I don't sexualize women, and even now I still don't. I just think they're pretty because in my mind, I guess, I think I didn't register as a child that women could like other women.
Here come Amara and Michelle.
Oh, great. Why do you think they've entered the contest?
They're girls and cousins too.
And then of course by the time I got older, I just assumed I was straight because I never had a crush on a woman. So I was like, girl, then you're straight. You don't like the ladies. That is until, like I said, when the paella happened and we were in lockdown, I was reflecting on these two particular women who I had and still have a quite strong fondness for, and that was Drew Barrymore and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And the particular films that I saw that kind of drew me in was Poison Ivy, that one stars Drew Barrymore, and it's either The Mask of Zorro or The Legend of Zorro that stars Catherine Zeta-Jones. Whichever one's the first one, that's the one. And I saw them and I thought that they were absolutely stunning. I thought they were absolutely beautiful. It did not register in my mind that the way I was viewing them was the same way I was viewing like a Johnny Depp in Chocolate, or Jason David Frank, bless his soul, and the Power Rangers, or AJ Trant and Brink. Like, it didn't register to me that those feelings were kind of one and the same, because I guess for me, when I thought someone was cute who was a guy, that's crush. And when if I thought someone who was really cute, and even though those feelings may have been the same, I thought, oh, well, that's just a friend. So for so long, I always thought, oh, I want to just be friends with these women. And even growing up, well, I didn't realize I still saw them in that kind of way. Like, I would jokingly be like, oh yeah, Drew Barrymore is my wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones is my wife. I would be like, oh, like, I'm straight, I like guys, but if Drew or Catherine ever wanted to hit me up, I'm open. But the fact that I could even have the capacity for these feelings for people who are women made me come to the realization that, like, I'm not straight.
Witchcraft.
Like, I feel like we live in a world where people try to make bisexual like a specific thing, because like there's no wrong or right way to be bisexual. Like, there are bi men who prefer to be with guys most of the time, but then they see the right girl and it's like, oh yeah, I'm out. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a spectrum, so there's no wrong or right way to do it. And I think being a woman, it's easier to, I guess, not realize that you may be bi, like myself, because like I said, growing up, not realizing that a girl could like another girl, or being so quick to want to be friends with a girl, you don't really get to digest those feelings of like, oh, am I actually like attracted to her? Like, I'm sure for some people it's crystal clear and they knew right away, but for me, it was not. And even now, I would say like my draw is still mainly to guys, because I don't even feel, like I said, I don't sexualize women. But when I see a woman that not only do I think she's pretty, but there's like a little draw like in my chest where I'm like, oh, that's not straight. then I know that like I'm attracted to her, so I'm not straight. So yeah, that's how I realized that I am not straight. Me madre knows, my friends know that I put the B in bi. Like no one cares, like it's really not a big deal. But what made me want to make a video about this is maybe it could help someone else who may have been a bit confused and think because, oh well, I like guys 98% of the time, but I had a crush on a girl like 1 or 2 times, but that doesn't make me like bisexual. Which granted, if you think you're straight and you happen to have a crush on a girl here and there, who am I to tell you you're wrong? That's how you feel. But if you really are trying to figure out like, oh, am I actually bi? Then you are. Like if you feel like you find an attraction to men and women, and it doesn't have to be sexually, it could be like a vibe, an aura, whatever, you that's not straight. And anyone who tells you that you're confused, you're not. Like I feel like I'm more than likely going to end up with a guy. I'm probably not gonna end it with a girl, even though I am open to it. It's probably not gonna happen simply because I feel like another thing too, this is what I wanted to say, and then I think I'm gonna wrap up this video because I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm just rambling. Why I feel like, let's use celebrities as an example. Why we see a lot of female celebrities who are openly bisexual with men most of the time, I think it's because of the dynamic of women, and I'm generalizing here and speaking in stereotypes, but generally speaking, women are used to being approached by men. And when you, I guess, are trying to be with another woman, you then, one of you has to approach the other one. Like if someone doesn't approach someone, it's never gonna happen. And then 2, when the approachment happens, it's kind of hard to gauge. It's like, so is this trying to be like my home skillet biscuit, or is this trying to be like the love of my life? Like you kind of don't really know sometimes. And then I know that some women don't want to make another woman uncomfortable if she happens to not like women. You get what I'm saying? And there could still be that opening to be friends. So I think women were so like accommodating to not want to make people uncomfortable that we'll just put someone in the friend category, even if we have like a romantic interest in them, just simply on the basis that we don't want to make them uncomfortable. But when it's a guy, it's like, oh, we know clear as day, like he's into me, so I'm okay with pursuing that. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I think that like you tend to see a lot of famous bi women with other men. That's just my opinion. And why you have bi women like myself who tend to just end up dating mostly guys, because it's just honestly, it's kind of easier and I don't have to gauge if I'm gonna make someone uncomfortable or not. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. I am very much, like I said, the B and the LGBT, and you know, it's a vibe. You know, it's not my whole identity. It's just, it happens to be a little piece about myself, which when I think back, beyond like the crushes on Catherine Zeta-Jones and Drew Barrymore, I've always had an affinity for like media that's for the gays. Like growing up, Too Long Food, Thanks for Everything, Julian Newmar, that's up there for me. Like that is one of my absolute favorite movies since I was a little tyke. I think I may have been like 4 or 5 when I first watched it. I still have my VHS tape of that movie. I've always had an affinity for things that are like in the LGBT culture. Like I always had a draw to it, but I just thought that like I vibed with the kids. I didn't think that I actually was one.
The category is dance or die.
So yeah, just interesting how things like that happen. Oh, and always loved RuPaul even before I knew RuPaul was a man, because I remember, if y'all don't know and you're not like a 90s baby or a little older, meaning like 80s, 70s, whatever, RuPaul was all up through the culture in the 90s. RuPaul was in Tia and Tamara, RuPaul was in the Brady Bunch movie, RuPaul was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like RuPaul was everywhere. But I did not know for the longest time that RuPaul was like a man, like he was doing drag. And it wasn't until one day I remember I was watching Sister Sister, and it was an episode that RuPaul was on, and I was getting my life because I always loved RuPaul, because I always thought that Ru was so pretty. And so I'm sitting there watching, and my mom comes over and she's like, oh, I love when Ru is in drag, he's so pretty. And I was like, he? And she's like, yeah, that's a man. And I was like, ah. interesting, and kept on watching. So not to say like if you like these things, you gotta be gay or bi or whatever. You don't have to be, but it's just interesting how a lot of times when people who are drawn to these things tend to be in the community these things are birthed from. That's all I'm saying. If you like this video, like it. If you're enjoying the content I make here, please subscribe. I'd very much love to have you here. And leave me a comment down below. Like, I don't want to ask you guys anything intrusive. Oh, just tell me who were some of your childhood crushes growing up. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time, I have to return some videotapes. Bye guys!